Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inspiration Morning Live. I am Christina Crowley, and how are you doing this morning? I am doing wonderful here. I am glad that you're joining me, and it's going to be the perfect day today. It starts out cool. Millie and I can go get our walk in, and then I can come home and work during the heat of the day, and that is the perfect kind of a day for me, and and that's really kind of a day that I like. Now, what does it have to do with my subject today of self-reflection or coulda, shoulda, wouldas? It doesn't, because I could be doing the coulda, shoulda, woulda. I could have been doing the I should have got up at 5 a.m. and done a bunch of work and then had the rest of my day free. That is living within a coulda, shoulda, woulda of life. Self-reflection, let me back up a little bit. I work from home, and I love working from home. It works well with who I am. It works well with how I like to work, and I really enjoy it. And I kind of talk about this today because, when you're going after your passion, and that's the kind of people who I work with, we get stuck in the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, rather than a bit of self-reflection. And it is a really fine line, because in going after your passion, it means you're going after you're purposely going towards something that you want, that you like, that you love, that you have a passion for, rather than, choosing a different path. And sometimes when we're going after our passion, it is something that maybe we put off, something that we, let's take, for example, my books. I love books. I love putting together books, and I love writing. It's just something I should have done, years ago. Instead, I'm doing it now. And that is part of the shoulda, coulda, woulda, rather than the self-reflection of, I did what I had to earn a living. And I did put that to the side, and now I'm coming back to it. And I've learned the lesson of doing what's right for me. Hello, good morning. I want to say thank you for joining me. We're talking about self-reflection rather than the shoulda, coulda, woulda type of self-talk. And I want to say thank you for joining me live. And for those of you who are joining me in the replay, thank you too. I know our schedules don't always match, and that's why, I leave the replays up on Facebook. Now, it's a different self-talk, self-reflection type of self-talk doesn't place blame. It looks for the lesson, and then it moves on. I know if the first time I was in a car accident, I went through a whole list of shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I should have taken another route. I should have done this. I should have done that. I could have done this. I could have done that. And in some instances, it's a natural type of thing. But, there are times when we blame ourselves and we get into that rut of a negative type of self-talk. And in many ways, it's because we feel powerless. And it can be because, that's the rut we get stuck in. And maybe for a reason that we don't know the whys, and we don't have to know the whys. We just need to realize that it's a negative type of self-talk, and we need to move on to something that is that's positive, that benefits us, that serves us. Is your self-talk serving you? And is it pushing you forward? Are you really moving towards your dreams? You look for leaders, and they don't necessarily, think of the leaders that you really like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or any of the type of tech leaders who truly had some setbacks in their lives. Like Steve Jobs got fired from Apple, and then he got rehired, but he went away. Yes, it was painful to him. And he wrote in his book, and he acknowledged that it was painful. But then he did start going in another direction, and he didn't get caught up in a negative way, because then he went back to Apple when they needed him, and he raised the company to new heights. So, and in many areas of our life, how can we figure out the self-reflection? Rather than negative self-talk. And I think it goes to really being calm with yourself. I like to journal. I like to journal when I just can't get out of, I can't get out of the type of self-talk that isn't beneficial to who I am, that doesn't serve me, to figure out what's really going on. And I write and write and write for about 10 minutes, because that's when you get out the fluff. And you start to get into some of the real reasons, and start to get it out of you. Start to get out the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, rather than the real reflective, self-reflective way of being. So journaling is a way of moving into a self-reflection and letting go of the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. If you're keeping going on the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, there's something that you can't put your finger on. And then, there's exercise. There is, I have my best ideas when I'm out walking, when I'm exercising in the pool. A lot of people have their best ideas when they are, when they're in the shower. Katy Perry, I just saw an interview with her. She has her phone close by, the shower, because she has her best ideas when she's in the shower, and she has to get them down before she loses them. Sorry, I could not let that go. So finding the way that gets you into a self-reflective state rather than a coulda, woulda, shoulda. Coulda, woulda, shoulda is blame. Self-reflective is figuring out the lesson. And I think that is, for me, I find that is really the best part of being able to figure out a situation and move on. In going after my passion, I love being self-employed. I want a thriving business. And a few years ago, I became a seller on Amazon. And I'm going to go through this short story. It's a good example of this. I did my research. I had some mentors. I really thought that I put into this what I needed to. That I was really going about this in the right way. And then I launched my product in a very competitive category, but yet I niched down, and I thought this would be a good area for me. When I was researching it, there weren't a lot of sellers of this, but yet the week I launched, so did 150 other people. 150 other, and that's of the ones that I could find. And they were all brand new, and you could tell that they were all brand new. And I was like, gosh, I could have been stuck in the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. But instead I realized that everything that I saw, so did 150 other people. They saw the opportunity there. Now, did I quit? No. But it wasn't nearly as successful as I wanted it to be. So instead of staying with the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, and I did for a while. I did stay with my coulda, shoulda, wouldas and regret for a while. And I think that was resistance. That was resistance from me moving on. Resistance is sometimes our self-talk of not wanting to be hurt, of not wanting to be let down again, of any other types of things. But I've talked about resistance a lot before. Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you watching me today. And we're talking about, self-reflection and the coulda, woulda, shoulda type of self-talk. And Yes, I so agree with that. That is amazing. Amanda, way to go. Say, I can, I will, I did. That is perfect. That's a great thing to say to yourself. And that is a beneficial type of self-talk. That brings on self-reflection. And then I think that catapults you forward. I think, that's what we kind of get stuck in, these mind loops of the coulda, shoulda, woulda. So when you say, I can, I will, I did, that really is something to catapult you forward, that stops you from being stuck. And, and we need these little reminders of the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. We need the reminders of, to get us out of these things so that we can move on. It's, we're bombarded by images. We're bombarded by messages. You're watching me this morning. And so sometimes, we've got to look for that, for a little bit of extra assistance to get us going. and to really appreciate what we're going through rather than blaming ourselves. I think, we try to assess blame a lot, a blame of how certain things went wrong. And I think it's kind of it's not the right thing for us. I think blame, it has its place, but I would rather learn and move on. And I think that's what I'm really talking about today. To be able to grow, to go after your passion, is to be able to learn and move on, to learn and move on. And I think even in most things in today's society, going after jobs and if you're being laid off. When I was working in LA, I was laid off a lot. And before I had worked in LA, I hadn't been laid off a lot. And I had a friend, who came and sat down and told me, this happens a lot. It's the way of the industry out here. People need you. And then when they run out of budget, then you're laid off. And I had never had that happen before. Hello, good morning. I want to say thank you for joining me. So when we have that friend who can, say to us, this is how things are, give us they're the insiders. They explain how things are. It helps us get out of that loop too. It's a negative mind loop. And I really love, thank you, Amanda, for saying, I can, I will, I did. That is such a breath of fresh air. That brings on self-reflection. And, when my friend in LA told me that, people get laid off all the time, that brought on to me to be able to really reflect that, maybe it wasn't me. Maybe it wasn't anything I did. And so I can move on finding my next job, my next gig, knowing that whatever I did to be laid off in my previous gig wasn't personal. They ran out of money. And it makes it easier to move on. Being self-reflective gets us out of that negativity, which, people can, it shows. When I was negative and going into job interviews, and in LA, it was great for me in that I went to hundreds of job interviews because, in working different types of gigs and doing temp work and, going into the type of work that's out there, you do a show and then it's over. Hello, good morning. I want to say thank you for joining me. When I was out there, I worked probably 40, 50 different jobs, and I probably went to 3 or 4 interviews before I got each job. So I did a ton of them. And I had to be able to go in there clear and being able to answer their questions and not be worried about, they're going to find out that I was laid off at my last job. Because I was assigning meaning to it that didn't belong. And when we say negative, coulda, shoulda, wouldas, we're assigning blame to it where it really doesn't belong. And instead of finding some self-reflection, that, it's just not personal. All righty. So I want to say thank you for being here. I'm going to check my feed on the other side. And, I want to say thank you for joining me. I really appreciate those of you who are able to be here, who are able to watch, and I'm looking at my feed at the moment, being able to see if everything's going okay. I've had tech issues lately, and so I need to look. And so I want to ask you, what are your coulda, woulda, shoulda talks that you've turned into something more positive, that you've turned into, self-reflection? I'm going to put my notes up there because I do tend to have to use notes. What are your biggest challenges with self-reflection? What are your biggest challenges getting out of that, negative type of self-talk? How do you do it? Do you have a friend who, is kind enough to speak truth to you? Do you have a friend who's kind enough to show you the ropes? Are you that person to someone else? I can tell you that having that kind of a person in your life, it's a wonderful feeling. It makes you feel like you're not alone. It makes you feel, a part of community. And that is what, I love talking about here. And so what are your biggest challenges? What would you like to see me talk about more? I need to take a sip here. I do have my coffee before I start. And So let me know what you think about. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate, all the thumbs up, the hearts. Please give me some thumbs up, some hearts. I'm going to put it up a little higher. Some thumbs up, some hearts. There, I did it. I appreciate those. I'm glad that you're able to do that for me. And, what would you like to see me talk about on future Facebook Lives? And feel free to personal message me. I do get a few of those from time to time. And but also put them in the comments. I'm happy to see those. I am happy to know what your thoughts are. And I really do appreciate everything, that we talk about here. And, we need to be able to go after our passion. We need to be able to do something that brings joy to our lives. Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining me. I am so glad that you're here. And I'm talking about self-reflection rather than coulda, shoulda, woulda type of talk. It's a type of talk that we kind of get stuck in. There's any number of situations that we do that bring that on. I give the example of when I was a teenager and I was in my first car accident, and you get that, oh my gosh, if I would have taken another route, if I would have done this, if I would have done that, there's the woulda, coulda, shouldas there, rather than this is what happens in life and it's happened. Acceptance of that it has happened. Alrighty, so I've talked for quite a while now, and I want to say thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate you being here. I enjoy the interaction with you, and I want to say, if you like this, please feel free to share it with your friends. Please feel free to give me the thumbs up. And if this has been helpful to you, I really do appreciate you being here. Alrighty. I look forward to seeing you on my next Facebook Live, and ta-ta for now. Bye-bye.